Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I would like to extend my gratitude to Clayton for organizing this panel, um, to Adrella for sponsorship, and to my colleague Brooke Lillehagen, because the project that I will be speaking about today is the result of a collaborative work that we've been engaged with over the course of several years. So today I'll be speaking about Zapotec-Language use on social media platforms as a pedagogical method for undergraduate classrooms. And you might want to think about it as a case study, perhaps, of an assignment that engages a digital platform and indigenous language. And I see this as an opportunity, a pedagogical method that touches on several fields of study, and we know we are limited with our time. So I'll just mention that some of the considerations, for example, Indigenous studies, digital scholarship, and then our practice, which is based on community engagement and the acknowledgement that there is knowledge within, and this is knowledge within the speakers themselves, students, and then of course professors. We have made several versions of this project over the course of at least 5 years, and this has resulted in a refinement in each version that is now a project-based learning assignment. And we've over the course of this time, we've been able to document participant experience. We've been able to document the digital memory that is left behind or that is recorded through the social media platforms. And then we have visions for development, ideas of things that we want to continue doing, and things that we want to change, things that we want to improve upon. This assignment I have incorporated into my Chicano Studies 345. It is a course titled History of Mexican Peoples. It's an upper division course. The prerequisite is basic completion of a lower division writing requirement. The enrollment cap is 40, and usually I have a full in-person classroom. My courses in the last 2 years have changed to hybrid courses. So in-person, one in-person meeting during the week, and then the other part is done online. It's an introductory history course that is a survey course, basically. We touch upon several communities, the history of several communities that compose Mexico and its diaspora. And it's open to the entire campus for general credit, general education credit, to both majors and non-majors. It's interesting, the student population in this classroom is interesting because the students are often bilingual, Spanish and English, but in every single class that I've taught all these years, there has always been a notable presence of students of Oaxacan heritage, in addition to students that have either knowledge, or they have family, or they themselves might be speakers of an indigenous language. So as an example of this semester's feedback from a student, and I thought this was perfect for the points that I'm making today, they say, through the Twitter project, I learned a lot of things, and in a place I never thought I would learn them, Twitter. I know that we were supposed to only pick 5 tweets. This is out of their 15 weeks of engagement. But I spent a good hour just scrolling and finding some really intriguing tweets. I liked this project because it was more than just look at this PowerPoint and write notes. However, let's talk about the things I learned. I learned how to say animal names in Zapotec, which I think is pretty cool, And the other main thing I learned was about the culture, seeing various pictures of women cooking and random statues and figures was so cool, and something that I am definitely going to remember. To conclude, I thoroughly enjoyed this project and I would do it again if I had to. So, thinking about social media as a pedagogical method, um, we are asking students to use the internet as an extension of the classroom. We select the platforms eligible for this project. In our collaborative work, uh, Brooke Lillehagen and I have been using Twitter primarily, but I allow my students to also use Instagram, particularly students who might not want to start a Twitter, another social media account. So for example, they might not want to use, to start a new Twitter account if they already have other social media platforms. I provide examples and demonstrations of participant engagement. I also provide information on the collaborative aspect of this project. So I absolutely focus on the fact that this community engagement includes Zapotec speakers, scholars, and students. And the participation is in various forms. In the beginning, it's pretty light. I encourage them to simply like or to retweet content. But I also encourage them that if there's something that they really feel interested or attracted to, that they should engage with that content. So in this sense, we are acknowledging Indigenous language speakers as producers of content, and then we are also acknowledging students as people who can intervene in digital ways with content that they find on the internet. So it's an active learning project. And so here is an example of a formal tweet that many students liked. It is a tweet from the Teacher project, on which I am a board member, and that I have been working and collaborating in collaboration with Brooke Lillehagen. And so this is a formal tweet, but then we get to see the difference with other types of tweets, such as this one, where we see a pretty active member of the Voces del Valle and Usa tu Voz hashtags, Angel Cruz Morales, and he is basically sharing an image that he took of a procession in which the young women are dressed in the La Colula regalia for this procession. And students really appreciated this. Again, thinking of Zapotec-Language speakers as producers of content, and then students who are engaging with this content intervening by liking or retweeting or asking questions about this. Here is what the assignment looks like at the end of the semester after 15 weeks of engagement. Again, during the 15 weeks, students can like, they can retweet, they can ask questions, they can engage in different ways with the content. And then at the end, I asked them to look through their tweets and the content that they engaged with and select 5 that they felt were particularly meaningful. And so the student went and selected some formal tweets, some less formal tweets, and some that might or might not be directly associated with this Zapotec language and Zapotec language speaker content. So they make, they write a description of each tweet, and then they write a reflection, and I invite them to write some commentary, to maybe offer suggestions for improvement. And the student says that they learned from exploring Twitter that Indigenous languages from Oaxaca, and they mean Zapotec, are not extinct, that neither are the people, that the descendants are working hard to preserve not only their native languages, but also their traditions. Hashtags such as Voces del Valle encourage the use of indigenous languages from all over Mexico, combating the stigma that the indigenous language is somehow less valuable than Spanish, when in fact it existed well before the Spanish conquered the area and continues to thrive. Twitter is giving native speakers a platform to spread and share their language and culture beyond the borders. And so I think that this is one example of how students really get a moment to critically think or analyze the content that they've been studying this entire semester. So let me talk a little bit about the significance of this project. And I want to acknowledge the fact that over the course of these years, working with my colleague, Brooke Lillehagen, we would have not imagined that we would be in the situation that we are in today, right now. From wherever you are logged on, we are not in the same space. We are all remotely together today. And so COVID-19 has forced many transformations in higher education that have demanded so much of us. Encouraging students to participate in an online activity that they may already be engaged with provides a new opportunity for pedagogical methods. Students are encouraged to go beyond the classroom, but in a place that they might already be familiar with, or in a way that they might already be familiar with. Participants are encouraged to think of themselves as producers of content, not only consumers of it. This project allows students to engage on many levels that include production of content, critical and analytical thinking, and these different ways to respond to these new transformations. So again, going back to the idea of knowledge within, the fact that students also carry knowledge that they can share with the world, the same way that the Zapotec-Language speakers are tweeting from their perspective. And so we get a new way of thinking of ourselves as people who can intervene, who can produce, who can engage in these different digital ways. And in thinking about decolonial methods, also post-colonial digital pedagogy, this is a quote from New Digital Worlds by Rizom that says that engaging with post-colonial digital pedagogy further helps students understand how print culture has played a role in constructing a world that privileges the stories, voices, and values of the global North, and how digital cultures in the 21st century reproduce these practices, contributing to the epistemological marginalization of the global South. With this project, I can see how we are changing this. I can see how through this assignment, we are encouraging students to focus their attention on the content that is produced by Indigenous language speakers. We are also encouraging students to engage and intervene with this content. And then in forming or formulating a new way to engage with digital content in the 21st century. And so as I move toward my conclusion, I wanted to share this tweet with you with one of the current participants in Oaxaca who uses Zapotec and then translates it to English, kind of acknowledging that these tweets are going to be seen by English language speakers using the hashtags, and then linking to Lisa, who is one of the people coordinating this project, who responds in Zapotec. Again, a really valuable, highly encouraging project that I think we've seen the benefits of already. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please tweet at me. There is my Twitter handle. I'm also available in the following Q&A session. But thank you again for attending. I absolutely appreciate your presence, and I hope to see you in our next LASA meeting in person.